before the first shot of the revolution, before the first colony, there was already a nation here. Not a myth, not a legend. A real civilization with its own power. The truth about what existed before America isn't just forgotten. It was covered up. And it changes everything you thought you knew. The Cherokee didn't stumble across the land. These people had already figured out the perfect spots to call home long before Europeans showed up with their maps and boundaries. They originally lived across what we now call Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and South Carolina, but back then, these were just invisible lines that would be drawn much later. The Cherokee territory was a perfect combination of mountains, forests, rivers, and valleys. The Cherokee basically lived in nature's version of a gated community, except the gates were mountains and the security system was knowing every trail. Mountains provided protection and hunting grounds, forests offered wood for homes and tools, and rivers became highways for travel and fresh fish. Most settlements popped up right next to flowing water. Cherokee town planning was basically waterfront property management before anyone invented the term waterfront property. Rivers meant easy transportation, plenty of fish for dinner, and perfect irrigation for crops. Over 60 documented Cherokee towns scattered across their territory before any Europeans arrived. Some towns were like medieval fortresses surrounded by wooden walls called palisades. Others were laid back, open villages where people came and went freely. The name Cherokee isn't even what they called themselves. Other tribes gave them that name, meaning people of different speech. The Cherokee called themselves Anivuya, which translates to the real people. Talk about confidence in your identity. The land itself shaped everything about Cherokee life. Rich valley soil was perfect for crops, while hills and mountains provided excellent hunting. Bad fishing season? There were always deer in the mountains. Poor mountain hunting? The valleys still produced crops. Cherokee land management provided more backup plans than most modern emergency preparedness kits. This diverse homeland required careful organization to ensure all these scattered communities could work together as one people. The Cherokee had developed a government system that actually worked. While modern politicians spend most of their time arguing, Cherokee leaders spent their time solving problems, which was apparently a revolutionary concept. Their secret was the dual government system, splitting leadership between white leaders for peace times and red leaders for war times. Peace leaders handled day-to-day Cherokee life, diplomacy with other tribes, farming and trade decisions, ceremonies, and settling disputes. When trouble came knocking, red leaders stepped up. Cherokee war chiefs were strategic thinkers who only fought when talking failed, which made them the opposite of action movie heroes who shoot first and ask questions later. Leaders got chosen by consensus, meaning everyone had to generally agree on who would do the best job. No campaign posters, no kissing babies, definitely no attack ads. This took time, but it meant leaders had real community support. The council house was the heart of Cherokee political life, where important discussions happened. Cherokee council houses were places where people actually wanted to participate in government, which puts them ahead of most modern civic engagement. Everyone could speak, and leaders had to explain their reasoning. The clan system was the backbone of Cherokee social order. 7 main clans included Wolf, Deer, and Paint clans. The system was matrilineal, meaning you belonged to your mother's clan. This gave Cherokee women significant power and status. The most important clan rule, you couldn't marry someone from your own clan. This prevented inbreeding and created strong bonds between clans. The clan system also provided a safety net. If something happened to your parents, your clan took care of you. Cherokee clans offered better family support than most modern extended families, and they covered hundreds of miles of territory. This sophisticated structure shaped how Cherokee families lived, worked, and thrived in their carefully organized communities. Cherokee daily life was like a well-choreographed dance where everyone knew their steps. Cherokee house construction involved the whole community working together, which made barn raisings look like small neighborhood projects. Summer houses were rectangular with woven river cane walls covered in mud plaster. Winter meant moving into specially built circular homes designed to trap heat. Men were hunters, builders, and warriors. Cherokee men had job descriptions that would make modern multitaskers jealous. Expert hunter, skilled carpenter, and community defender all in one person. Women were farmers, caregivers, and cooks, managing households, raising children, and controlling food production. Cherokee women were agricultural experts who had turned farming into art and science. Their most famous crops were the Three Sisters: corn, beans, and squash. These crops literally helped each other grow better. Women maintained gardens around homes where they could watch crops while doing household tasks. Men's hunting provided protein-completing Cherokee meals. Deer was the most important meat source. Cherokee hunters could track a deer through thick forest using broken twigs and footprints, making them better than modern GPS systems at finding their targets. Bear hunting was more dangerous but provided huge amounts of meat and fat preserved for months. Cherokee fishermen figured out clever ways to catch fish without holding fishing rods all day. They built fish traps from woven baskets, used spears for larger fish, and made fish poison from crushed walnut husks that stunned fish in streams. Food preservation was serious business without refrigerators or grocery stores. They dried meat and fish in the sun and over smoky fires, turning fresh food into jerky lasting months. Cherokee food preservation methods kept meat fresh longer than most modern refrigerators keep leftovers edible. Cherokee clothing was made from tanned deerskin that was soft, durable, and comfortable. Women decorated clothes with intricate beadwork and painted symbols. Children were raised not just by parents, but by entire clans. The success of Cherokee daily life depended entirely on the ingenious tools and techniques their craftspeople had developed over countless generations. Cherokee craftspeople were original masters of making everything from scratch. Cherokee toolmaking required skills that would take modern people years to learn, and they passed these techniques down through generations like family recipes. Their achievements worked perfectly for their design jobs. Cherokee bows were works of art that happened to be deadly weapons. They preferred hickory or black locust wood because these trees produced strong, flexible wood. Making bows required careful wood selection, months of patient shaping, and skill to create weapons sending arrows accurately over long distances. Pottery making was both practical engineering and artistic expression. Cherokee potters used the coil method, building pots from long clay snakes smoothed into beautiful, functional vessels. Cherokee pottery combined beauty and function better than most modern kitchen designs that focus on one or the other. Stone axes were crafted from hard rocks like flint, with handles bound and balanced for maximum efficiency. These could fell large trees, shape wooden posts, and serve as weapons. Cherokee canoe making turned giant trees into efficient water transportation using controlled fire to hollow out large tree trunk interiors. Blowguns were Cherokee secret weapons for small game hunting. Made from long, straight river cane sections, these weapons could silently take down birds and small animals. Cherokee blowguns were silent hunting tools that could hit small targets from 30 feet away, making them more accurate than most people are with modern air rifles. Basket weaving was practical necessity and artistic achievement. Using river cane and white oak splints, Cherokee weavers created baskets for every purpose. Woven patterns had meanings identifying which clan made baskets or their intended uses. Cherokee beadwork added beauty to everyday objects while serving social functions. Beads made from shells, stones, and seeds were sewn onto clothing in patterns indicating clan, achievements, or status. Cherokee beadwork told stories about the wearer that could be read by anyone who knew the patterns, making clothing into wearable biographies. For warfare, Cherokee weapons were designed for effectiveness. War clubs were carved from single hardwood pieces, often with stone blades embedded in striking ends. These remarkable tools and technologies were created within a worldview that connected all Cherokee innovations to something much deeper than mere survival. Cherokee spirituality wasn't something done once weekly in special buildings, then forgotten. It was woven into every daily life aspect, creating worldviews connecting every Cherokee person to community, environment, and spirit world. Cherokee spiritual practices were integrated into daily life so completely that separating religion from regular activities would have been impossible. Cherokee believed in maintaining careful balance between humans, nature, and spirit world. This was practical wisdom keeping Cherokee communities healthy and sustainable for centuries. Fire held special places in Cherokee spiritual life. Sacred fires burned in town centers and were never allowed to go out completely. Fire represented life itself, purity, and connections between earth and creator. Cherokee communities maintained sacred fires continuously for generations, showing more dedication than most modern people show to keeping their phones charged. Cherokee called the Great Spirit Unetlanvi, meaning the one who is eternal. This wasn't distant deity, but rather life's source and the force maintaining universal balance. Cherokee people could communicate with Unetlanvi through prayers, ceremonies, and living in harmony with natural worlds. Cherokee ceremonies followed natural seasonal rhythms. The green corn ceremony was the most important annual celebration, marking harvest time when first corn was ready to eat. The green corn ceremony combined community celebration, spiritual renewal, and conflict resolution into one event, making it more effective than most modern festivals that only focus on entertainment. During ceremonies, people were forgiven past mistakes, fires were renewed, and communities prepared for coming years. Numbers had deep spiritual significance, particularly 4 and 7. 4 represented cardinal directions, 4 seasons, and 4 life stages. 7 was even more powerful, representing 7 clans, 7 existence levels, and 7 directions. Cherokee priests, called medicine men or women, were specialists maintaining community spiritual health. Becoming Cherokee priests required years of training, memorizing hundreds of songs and prayers, and learning dozens of medicinal plant properties. Cherokee creation stories weren't just entertainment. They were educational tools teaching important lessons about how worlds worked and how people should behave. Death was viewed as a natural transition rather than ending. Bodies were typically wrapped in deerskin and buried with food, tools, and personal items useful in next worlds. Cherokee burial practices prepared people for the afterlife better than most modern funeral arrangements prepare families for dealing with grief. This deeply rooted spiritual foundation would soon face challenges unlike anything the Cherokee had ever encountered. The first Europeans to stumble into Cherokee territory in the 1500s were Spanish explorers who were probably more lost than they cared to admit. Spanish explorers navigating Cherokee territory had worse directional skills than most modern drivers without GPS. These initial contacts were brief and peaceful, but they began changes that would transform Cherokee life forever. Early European trade seemed beneficial for everyone. Cherokee had plenty of deerskins Europeans wanted, and Europeans had metal tools and manufactured goods, making Cherokee life easier. The problem was this trade created dependencies nobody saw coming. Cherokee people gradually began relying on European goods instead of making traditional tools and clothing. Cherokee trade dependency was like modern people losing internet access, except it affected survival tools instead of social media. Gun introduction changed Cherokee warfare and hunting. Guns were more effective than bows, but required gunpowder and ammunition obtained through trade. Alcohol was perhaps the most destructive European import. Cherokee society had no experience with distilled spirits, and alcohol addiction became serious problems in many communities. European diseases were even more devastating. Cherokee people had no immunity to smallpox, measles, and other Old World diseases. These epidemics killed thousands of Cherokee people and weakened communities precisely when they needed strength most. Cherokee found themselves caught in European power struggles. During wars, they were pressured to choose sides between different European powers. Cherokee involvement in European conflicts was like being forced to pick sides in neighbors' family disputes, except the neighbors had armies and the disputes involved control over Cherokee land. Cherokee leaders tried adapting by adopting European-style government and economic systems. They created written constitutions, established national governments, and began publishing newspapers in Cherokee and English. Despite assimilation efforts, pressure from American settlers for Cherokee land continued increasing. Gold discovery on Cherokee territory made situations worse, as thousands of prospectors invaded Cherokee lands illegally. The Indian Removal Act of 1830 was legal foundation for forcing Cherokee people off ancestral lands. Government decided the solution was moving all Native Americans west of the Mississippi rivers. The Indian Removal Act solved conflicts between settlers and Cherokee by removing Cherokee people instead of controlling illegal settlers, which was like solving traffic problems by banning pedestrians. Cherokee leaders fought removal through legal challenges and won several important court cases. However, the government essentially ignored court rulings and proceeded with removal anyway. The Trail of Tears in 1838 and 1839 was the final brutal implementation of Cherokee removal. Federal troops rounded up approximately 16,000 Cherokee people from homes and forced them to march over 1,000 miles to Oklahoma. The journey took place during harsh winter, and approximately 4,000 Cherokee people died during removal. What happened next would test everything the Cherokee had built and believed in, but it would also reveal the true strength of their character. Not every Cherokee person was forced to walk the Trail of Tears. Cherokee families who avoided removal were better at hiding in mountain wilderness than federal troops were at tracking people through unfamiliar territory. Several hundred Cherokee people managed avoiding removal by hiding in remote mountains of North Carolina and Tennessee. These hidden Cherokee families eventually emerged and formed the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians. They fought legal battles to prove rights to remain in homelands and gradually purchased land to establish permanent reservations. Meanwhile, Cherokee people forced to relocate faced enormous challenges, rebuilding entire civilizations from scratch. The land in present-day Oklahoma was unfamiliar, and they had to learn new farming techniques and establish new towns. Cherokee rebuilding efforts in Oklahoma required more adaptability than most modern refugees show when moving to new countries with government assistance programs. Despite these challenges, Cherokee people demonstrated remarkable resilience. They re-established governments, rebuilt educational systems, and began healing from removal trauma. Today, there are 3 federally recognized Cherokee tribes. Cherokee Nations in Oklahoma are the largest, with over 300,000 enrolled members. United Kituwa bands focus on preserving traditional culture and language. Eastern bands in North Carolina represent descendants of those who avoided removal. The Cherokee writing system remains one of the most remarkable achievements in written language history. A Cherokee scholar created an entire writing system for his language without formal training in linguistics. This syllabary allowed Cherokee people to read and write in their own language, and it's still used today. Cherokee language preservation has become a critical priority. Cherokee language is considered endangered because fewer young people are learning it as first language. However, Cherokee communities have established immersion schools where children learn all subjects in Cherokee. Cherokee language immersion programs teach children to think in Cherokee, making them more effective than most modern foreign language classes that only teach vocabulary. Traditional Cherokee ceremonies continue being practiced. Stomp dances are still held regularly, and green corn ceremonies continue marking annual cycles of renewal. Modern Cherokee people are involved in every aspect of American life. Cherokee people serve as doctors, lawyers, teachers, artists, and community leaders. Many Cherokee families maintain cultural identity while participating fully in modern American society. The 3 Cherokee tribal governments operate their own court systems, police forces, and government services. They manage multi-million-dollar budgets and operate businesses ranging from casinos to manufacturing companies. Cherokee tribal governments manage modern business operations while preserving ancient cultural traditions, making them more complex than most state governments that only focus on contemporary issues. Current estimates suggest over 750,000 people in the United States claim Cherokee ancestry, making Cherokee one of the largest Native American populations in the country. The story of Cherokee people is ultimately one of survival, adaptation, and resilience. From sophisticated pre-contact civilization through removal trauma to modern Renaissance, Cherokee have demonstrated remarkable ability to maintain identity while adapting to changing circumstances.